We talk about VAWA all the time. I have a whole series on VAWA and how it's for victims of abuse that are married to a US citizen or a permanent resident. But we don't really talk about what forms abuse take. And financial abuse is one of those forms of abuse that people do not talk about or even know how to recognize. So in this video, I'll be breaking that down for you, what it is, how to recognize it, and how it may be the ticket to you being able to prove your VAWA case and be able to eventually get a green card. I am U.S. immigration attorney Lilian Chukwurah, and I help my clients get green cards and citizenships for themselves and their families using the U.S. immigration law system. Now let's start with what is financial abuse. Financial abuse is when someone uses money or financial control as a weapon to gain power over another person. It may look like concealing bank account information, forcing you to hand over your paycheck, giving you an allowance when you're the one earning the income, or running up debt in your name. It is common, and in fact, research shows that financial abuse happens in 99% of domestic violence cases. 99%. You might hear, you're under so much stress. Let me take care of you. Let me take care of your bills for you. And slowly, you find yourself with less access, less say, and less freedom. By the time you want to leave or even have a say, you realize the finances are no longer yours to control. And that's the goal of financial abuse. Financial abuse is about dependency and isolation. Recognizing it is the first step towards regaining your power and your control. Financial abuse isn't just one behavior, it's a pattern of control. Here are some of the most common ways it shows up. I put them into different categories to help you kind of see how it can show up in different aspects of your life. The first is controlling your work and education. So this may look like stopping you from working or forcing you to quit your job because, you don't need to work if I'm working and taking care of everything. Sabotaging your job by harassing you at work. Maybe they're excessively calling you while you're supposed to be working, or they show up at your job unannounced, which leads to your employers wondering if you actually want that job. Physically harming you before an interview or a big meeting to make sure that you do not get that job or promotion. Blocking you from training or education that could lead to your independence or a bigger job, a bigger responsibility at work, more money. When it comes to those things that will give you a step up in your career, they are very quick to shut you down, tell you it's not worth it, you don't have to do this training, I'll take care of everything, you don't have to do it. Does that sound familiar? Okay, let's keep going. Next, big category is restricting access to money. So this may look like instead of having access to a joint account or your own finances, your spouse is now giving you an allowance. I have seen this where the person, you're working, you're earning an income, but they're requiring you to give them your paycheck. They deposit it into their own account or an account that you do not have access to. And when you need money for your basic necessities, you have to ask your spouse for access to money, access to the funds that you worked for, and they are not forthcoming with it. This may also look like hiding money or lying about finances. I have seen situations where a spouse lies that they have a job or that they're making a certain amount of money or not making that much money so that they can use the spouse that is working, that is the abused spouse income, for all their expenses and be able to save their own income. The next category is exploiting or destroying your finances. This is a big one. This can look like opening joint credit card accounts and running up the debt without any intentions of paying it back, forging your name on financial documents, stealing your identity or your inheritance, forcing you into debt or fraudulent tax returns. And finally, opening accounts in your name without you having any access to it or even knowledge of it. This is called coerced debt, where they force you to enter into debt or forge accounts in your name. And it can damage your credit for years and make it even harder for you to leave the relationship, because now you're not able to get a credit card, a loan to be able to get a place to move out. You may not be able to rent an apartment because they're going to check your credit history and see that you have all these open debt accounts that you are not making any payments towards, that you did not even know you had. And then the last category is controlling household spending. That means making you ask for permission to buy anything, even groceries. Okay? Not just, oh, I want to make this large purchase. Let me talk to my spouse about it. No, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, I need to go and buy some tampons. Let me ask my spouse about it. I need to go buy some shaving cream because I have a job interview coming up and I will look better clean shaven. And your spouse is over there saying, no, I'm not going to give you that. So things like that is what we're talking about. Those little things that typically you would not ask for permission on. They want you to ask for permission. Another way this may show up is refusing to pay bills just to ruin your credit, right? That's controlling your household spending, even though they know the electricity bill has to be paid. However, they put that electricity bill in your name, and now they're refusing to give you the money to then pay the electricity bill, which will then tank your credit, right? Every one of these behaviors is designed to make you more dependent and make it harder for you to leave the relationship. When individuals come to me and we're talking about VAWA, whether they qualify, I ask them questions about not just, has your spouse ever hit you? Has your spouse ever said mean things to you? Has your spouse ever, threatened to call the police on you, to call ICE on you? But I also talk about the financials, because that is something people don't think about. They think it's normal because that's how their relationship has always run. So when you are thinking about abuse, when you are thinking that maybe you don't qualify for VAWA because you were never physically harmed by your spouse, this series of videos that I'm going to be doing is going to focus on the other types of abuse other than physical abuse, because financial abuse is very harmful, because it makes it harder for you to leave the relationship, especially in a situation where you do not have immigration status. That is even worse for you. So when you do not have immigration status, when you do not have these things to fall back on, your spouse can not only take the money that you already earn, that you're not even being paid the full amount you should be paid for the work you do. They can take that money from you, hide that money, use that money for anything except for the things that actually would benefit you. And sometimes we don't look at that as a form of abuse, but I'm here to tell you that it is a form of abuse. And documenting it is going to be helpful in your VAWA case, right? We want to make sure that as you're thinking about abuse, you are thinking about the full picture of everything that has went on in your life. There's someone out there that's watching this video, hearing me list these things and thinking, oh, I didn't think that could be considered abuse, because that's just every day in my life. That's nothing, special. But that's not how most relationships run. Okay? So sometimes when you're in the thick of it, you don't even know that is a thing that's going on until you step back and someone points it out to you. And that is why I always tell people to not self-diagnose, right? When you are sick, you don't want to self-diagnose. You want to go to a doctor. Let them tell you what is wrong with you. Let them do the research. Let them do the tests and see what's wrong with you. When it comes to immigration, especially VAWA, please do not self-diagnose. Do not sit there and be like, well, I don't qualify because X, Y, and Z never happened to me. Yeah, but you may have all these other things. Like if any of the things I've talked about in this video resonates with you, you have more things going on with you than just what you heard in this video. And that's why this is going to be a series where I talk about the different forms of abuse so that you know what they are and that you can really put it into words what is going on in your life and be able to show USCIS the types of abuse that you have went through in your life. If you are watching this video and these things are resonating with you because it's something that's happening in your life, I want you to know that you are not alone. There's resources out there for you. There are people that are willing to help you. So make sure you take advantage of those resources. I will put some of them in the description to this video, especially the National Domestic Violence Hotline, so that you have a safe place to call in case you need that support. And if you are wondering whether VAWA is an option for you, if this video resonates with you and you're like, oh, I think I may qualify for VAWA, but you're not sure, like I said, do not self-diagnose. Schedule a strategy session. Let's talk about your situation and see if VAWA is truly an option for you. And if it is, what steps you can take to make it a reality and for you to eventually get your green card. If you would like to schedule that strategy session, please go to my website, lilylegal.com, click on Contact Us, and you can schedule a date and time that works best for you for us to chat about your situation.